Welcome to the Enlightened Misfits podcast, where purpose driven entrepreneurs turn self sabotage into self compassion and rise into their power. I'm your host, Lauren Perlingi, and we're here to share real conversations and tools to help you create a business and life aligned with your soul. In today's episode, I have Meg. She is from Delaware. Yay, Delaware. She's a Delaware artist who creates unique gifts from that weird and wild at heart. This is Meg, the colorful creator behind her nostalgic, glittery filled art that brings healing through creativity and play. So together today, we're going to dive into that healing nature of art and the magic between that childhood nostalgia and the heart-to-heart connection between the creator and the collective. So let's dive in. Welcome, Meg. So happy to have you here with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let's kind of start into your artist journey. So can you kind of describe to the listeners, describe yourself as an artist? I know that you call yourself the weird and wild at heart. Can you kind of share where that first initial moment that kind of drew you to creating this?
Well, I definitely wasn't like, I'm not really as comfortable yet just saying artist because I don't know, like I craft and I create things, but then I'm like, am I a real artist? I don't know, but I feel like we all kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
Um, but I started making jewelry with little kits when I was a teenager on a super boring family vacation. And the only thing to do was go to the department store and try to find something to entertain us while the adults were just like reminiscing and we had nothing to do. So I got those little beaded kits to make. It was the hemp at the time to that you twine together and add jewelry and add beads and add findings. And that was like my first time really like creating something from start to finish that I actually like felt, woo, I took something from little pieces and made it into something pretty. Like, so I kind of just evolved from there, mostly just trying something new every once in a while. And I kind of leap from idea to idea. Like I've gone from um, doing collage work to doing jewelry and then combining them both into these notebooks that I'm doing now, which I'm super excited about, where I can also create something for somebody else to create in. So I feel like I'm kind of like stepping out a little to be like, do your own project and do your own art and I can give you something beautiful to start with because I didn't start with a particular like I can't draw or I can't paint, but I can make something beautiful from my brain to get you into that creative mindset.
Yeah. And I feel like so, and just saying that, I'm right along with you. I am not a good painter or drawer or anything like that. So your gift is you creating these kits for people so they can. And I feel like that is the most important part is helping people create that when they don't know where to start. I think that's really powerful. Uh,
Right. And coming from like I've had a pretty long and significant mental health journey and I know that journaling is huge. And a lot of people think of it as, ugh, it's going to be this boring school assignment that I have to sit down and do. And I'm doing something very curated and something very sweet and nostalgic that is like an item that you're going to cherish and also want to use because it's fun and you love it. And while you're like, I found a lot of um, comfort in being able to do like mood boards and spreads of, how am I feeling today and using different scraps of different mediums to to express that, and stickers and magazine cutouts. And it's just like I feel good having a place to provide that.
Yeah. And I think that that is, I mean, the listeners can definitely, I know for me, you know, if I'm speaking from my perspective, that that is huge, especially there's a lot of moms and with little kids that listen to this too. So it's like having them, I know when I met you, we met at that, tell me again, what Brandywine, what was that place that we met at?
It was at Bellevue Community Center, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah, and my daughter to this day loves the bookmark that we got.
Oh
Like she
yeah.
loves it. Yeah. And I think what else? I got something else too, and she loves it. She actually takes it to school with her. And she might not necessarily know the nostalgia behind it because it's more of like the 80s, 90s.
Right.
But she likes it. She loves it. And it's like she's very creative too at heart. And I just feel like she's navigating, she's 5, she'll be 6, you know, we're navigating her feelings and understanding things together. And it's like, you know, your what you create is would be amazing for, you know, moms with kids that are, you know, trying, it doesn't matter what age, it could be any age. I'm just saying that from, you know, what I have experienced with your art is, you know, that colorful, it's just colorful, and it really does help you kind of, it's just brings back that, well, I'm, you know, I'm from the generation of I want to say Anne Frank, but it's not. Lisa
Lisa.
Frank. Yeah, Lisa Frank. And that's that glittery, vibrant, you know, that's the stuff that I remember from my childhood. So I'm sure other generations have other childhood memories, but I feel like that is, we all as adults still have a human, you know, in our adult bodies have this little like inner child that is just trying to kind of heal and navigate whatever we're navigating in like more of a creative process. So
Exactly. And I feel like also when things feel like they're getting kind of like bleaker and less fun and more corporate and more everything is the same, it's just having something like, oh, I remember this from when I was in a happier, simpler frame of mind. And it's kind of taken me back there. And it's something that I can't just go find at Walmart or something.
right.
That it's
Yeah.
something I'm a huge fan of, curating your life and trinket collecting and having all kinds of different knickknacks and weird stuff around your house. Like I'm a collector. So it's like if I'm making something that is different and pretty and takes you back to childhood and is something that's not pretty much no one else is going to have, because I do make these notebooks, but each one is going to be a little different than the other. I don't make identical ones over and over. So it really is something like truly unique to you.
Right. And that is, that's where that is exactly like you said. It's unique and nobody else has it. You know, you can't just go to Target or Walmart or go online to Amazon and like purchase this. And it's like that is what people are searching for right now. Like in this moment, that's exactly what people are searching for. I know a lot of moms that are, you know, that have little girls or even little boys that are, you know, into that nostalgic piece. I feel like that's the gift. And I feel like, you know, that's also a healing outlet for, you know, like you said, you have navigated, you know, depression and anxiety. What does this process look like? This creative process look like for you when you're using art to move through emotions or like self-soothe?
Well, I'll just say earlier this year, the past year and a half or so, I had a pretty um depressive bad depressive episode wherein I didn't want to create for the longest time. And that is really its own special kind of hell, to like not have any ideas whatsoever. And as I was healing and going through, I did an outpatient program. I have great doctors and I have great support system. So as I was getting better, I came up with more plans like, okay, I could journal, but journal's boring. Let me make, a journal that's fun for me and make a project that's fun for me, and did, emotion boards and mood boards. And then it was, okay, well, this is helping me like see a a bright spot. Like I'm making something, I'm creating something with my hands and remembering how that feels to um have that spark of an idea, and to like I truly believe that you leave, a little bit of your soul every time that you make something for someone else. So, or for yourself. But um that's what I think ultimately helps me, and that I have gotten like I'm in a better place now mentally than I've been in years. I'm doing excellent. And the one of the litmus tests that I can tell is that I'm having new ideas every day. Like, oh, I made this, but what if I did this with it? Or what if I did that with it? And that's how I know that I'm good and I'm okay and I'm ready to move forward. And I'm thinking about it in more of a less of a hobby now, and more of something that I want to make more of a permanent part of my life.
Yeah. And I want to just say, first and foremost, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that, because your piece of your story, if you did not share that, maybe just one listener listening to this, that could help them. And, connecting and just using your voice to say, this is where I was and this is like where I am now. And using that process as a healing outlet just for one person. It doesn't have to be millions of people, but it could just be that one person, and that ripple effect of, this is what I did, try it, don't try it, whatever you like to do. Um, and that's like that ripple effect that will help heal the world. So I wanted to first
Right.
say thank you for being vulnerable and going first. You have, if you never shared this with, anybody, like if you weren't at that, fair, I never would have met you. You being vulnerable and sharing, this is what I have, this is what I do, and now you're here, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. So going back to the creativity part, because I feel like a lot of people right now especially don't realize that, like, you have your story, and getting back into that creative flow really helped you heal through this experience. But can you kind of explain like the energetics behind the creativity? Like, how do you experience the energy when you're creating? Like, what is that type of energy when you are creating? Like, what do you feel when you're making these mood boards, or your emotional state? Like, does it flow directly into the pieces, or does it act like creating helps shift your energy into like a better space?
I can't really be creating unless I'm already in like a good mental space. So, it definitely, I feel like I'm putting, even when I'm making something that's kind of dark and spooky, because that's sort of one of my genres too, is doing things that are kind of like witchy um and dark. But even if it is something like that, if I'm in that particular mood, I mean, I'm still like putting positive energy into it. It's not like a sad thing that I feel like I'm lashing out against my process. It's definitely always a positive thing. And I can kind of let go of any stress or any negativity, because I'm just like, I'll just sit in my bed and just surround myself, or at my desk or wherever. But I'm kind of a bed rat. I like will bring all my supplies into my space and just be surrounded by this giant mess, and have my dog in the background. There he is over there. And I
Your
have my
kitty cat.
dog, I'll have my cats, and I'll have my comfort shows on TV. And I always like, I have ADHD, so I kind of have to have different stimuli going on at the same time. So I always have something playing in the background to, I guess it kind of takes my conscious brain away a little bit to have something else to concentrate on, but I'm really like focusing on what I'm creating at the time. And it just becomes this huge mess. But it's like then I come out with all these beautiful things and I feel like it like took some of my joy and now it exists elsewhere and I can give that to other people.
Yeah, and there's two things that I love that you say. It took your joy and you're spreading your joy, and which is connected to love as well, and also your mess. And I've learned myself last week that that messy middle of like nothing's working, this is the stuff that we tell ourselves pretty much, like this is not working, this is not, and then we realize that all of that stuff that we kind of just were vulnerable to share or to put out there or to create or whatever it is for us, that's actually what helps people. And people realize, oh, she's human too. It's not just, especially now on social media, like, or, just in general, like, and, connection and what humans need. And because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all have those feelings. We all have to experience, all of that. And I realized that life, period, is messy. So why don't I just embrace the messy
Right.
and then figure out what I can create or do? And it could just like for you, it's art, for other people, it could be other things. But just like I've learned that's like embrace that messy. The messy middle is actually where we grow and learn. And if we did not have that, then how would we move forward? Like where would we be going? Probably nowhere.
Right.
We would be stuck in the same cycles. We would be stuck in the same mood, energy. Like, it's really, really, and I love that you also said about, dark and witchy, because, witchy, of course, that's what society thinks witchy stuff is dark. And, and it's like all of us have that side that is dark. It's shadow. It's not bad. It's actually a place where we could create from,
Right.
or, you know, um, I'm woo woo, I guess, like whatever they say, the people that don't understand it. And it's like, I feel like more of the world is waking up to the fact that a lot of us have been like closet witches
Yeah.
coming out.
I definitely like, I'm a member of the like Wilmington Witches and I find a lot of inspiration in like themes of tarot and mysticism and spirituality and you know, crystals and plants and like I love all that. I mean, I'm definitely a little witchy too, but um I've been trying to think of new ways to because witches for one thing, like we love reading and books and journaling and doing, putting out all our feelings out on paper. So I'm trying to like come up with more ideas to kind of take me down that vein a little bit. And because I've been focusing mostly on the nostalgia, and now as I'm doing that, I'm thinking, oh, what else can I do and other themes too.
Right.
But
Yeah, and like knowing more of just like my own experience and journey. I've always did witchcraft. I always did, like I was always that, magic. And a witch is by society bad, whatever.
right.
But it's literally to the definition, just like anxiety or like depression. It's like a label that they put on people. And it's more of like, no, I just suppress my feelings. That's literally what it is. Like, it's like very like, but it's like depending on where you go with that, it's like, no, I think it's, I was, again, I'm sure you're probably the same way. I came out of my mom very like aware and my eyes open, like, where the fuck did I just come? Like, literally, like, if there was like a video that could probably explain what happened, that is probably, and it was been my whole life. Like, where did I come to? Like, where am I? Like, Earth is, a hard, really hard school of life. Like, that's why we all come here to learn a lot of lessons. And there's plenty of other reasons, that could be a whole, other conversation. But
Yeah.
specifically specifically, I feel like at the end of at the end of all of this, it's like that connection from the piece of your heart you're creating, and that, I know that you say you don't call yourself an artist, but the connection between your art and the piece of your heart that you are creating. So can you kind of share like a little story on that moment when somebody connected very deeply with something that you made, and it felt like that emotional bond between um, you and that piece that you made?
Oh, that happens all the time. Like, I love it so much. And I've mostly felt it in the fact that y- I love to read. I'm a huge reader. I work at a bookstore as my part-time job. I manage a bookstore in Belfont, and a lot of my things have um bookish themes. I make book earrings and book jewelry, and especially using things from my childhood and my teenage years. So when I meet somebody, for example, and we realize both of us that Pet Cemetery is a comfort book to both of us for some reason. I'm like, I know that makes me really weird. She's like, no, no, I read that for comfort too. I'm like, what? Like, it's just so bizarre to, like, I just love making that connection of, something that I thought was weird and unusual about myself, that I would find comfort in a book like Pet Cemetery because I read it in the fall to be cozy. So I read it to like, it's one of my like cozy books. And to find somebody else who felt the same way, it was like, oh, we're kind of like, we found this connection. We're a little like book sisters in a way, because what you read really, I think, is indicative of your personality and your upbringing, and the fact that you can take a book that you read when you were 9, and I will read the same book again every 2 years, and it means something different to me because I've grown. And to find that connection with other people that have kind of grown up with something the same way is, I think, really special. And then to be able to offer them, here's an item made from your memory, basically, and you can keep that and use it as an adult. Like, at my last show, I had all these journals, and people were passing by and saying, "Oh, I remember that book." I'm like, "But it's still for you because it's a journal and it's for you to use. It's not just a children's book anymore. It's got the story in it, and it's got, like, fun and pretty elements to it, but it is usable. Like, it's got a section of notebook paper, it's got a section of sketch paper, and you can use it for any of your needs, like gardening or cooking, or keeping it just like in as for just art projects or just for practical use. I mean, it's something from that you remember, but isn't just going to sit on a shelf. Like, it could, because it's very pretty, but it's very useful.
Very tangible. And you said something about comfort with your childhood, and I feel like that could probably resonate with a lot of people, because right now in the world it feels unsafe, right? And it's like finding something that you can kind of take yourself back to, that is comforting. And I'm not saying that everybody's childhood was safe. I'm not saying that
Right.
either. But I'm saying that you as an adult can keep yourself safe from just I'm not saying that some people have had horrible childhoods and horrible experiences, but it's like, what can I do for myself to create that safety and that stability, and where I can connect with people? And I love that you said that, you're connecting with these people, because that's just a proof that all of us at some point in our journey have had experiences that maybe we felt unsafe, but we all can connect back to that same source, and that same of like, oh, we really are the same, in some ways. Or like the Magic School Bus. I love the Magic School Bus. My daughter, for whatever reason, does not like it. And I'm like, let's read it, let's read it, let's read it. But, she's like, I don't like it. So, I mean, maybe she'll like it when she gets older, but it's stuff like that too. And I think I've seen you had the Magic School Bus
I do. Yeah.
the journal. So I was like, the Magic School Bus. But for me, I am a journaler. I am, I go by pretty journals, but yours are different. I love the Magic School Bus. That's connected to my childhood. And if I'm journaling about childhood or I'm journaling about something that I feel, it's probably coming from childhood. You know what I mean? So it's like that connection of remembering, I lived that as a child. I can switch it. I'm in control of switching it and changing it now. So I think that's the connection that I would make if I would have got that journal. And I feel like a lot of other people, too, would have made that too. So
And it's also me too. Like, you know, I can get these projects out and it can like heal my own inner child and like remind me of all these things. But then I get to share that. I don't, you know, like luckily for like my family, I don't have to keep every little thing I make. I can, share it and like get the joy of making it. And then also the joy of watching it go to somebody who's really going to love it.
yeah. And I think that I just love that you have I see a very special gift for you. And I just love that you're able to go through your journey, be open about your mental health struggles, and also help other people in the process navigating theirs in their moments, or if they need a creative spark. Because I work with so many people that when I ask them, okay, so let's do this, and I remember where it comes from, right? It comes from a lot of trauma of where can like that creative is shut down in our sacral, right? And even to me, sometimes I'm like, I don't, I create through my business, or I create, obviously, my podcast is where I love to be, but talking or like speaking or whatever. But there's sometimes that I'm like, ugh, I don't feel like it's like, what do I need to do? And it's more of like, I actually need to journal what I'm feeling, or I need to journal the thoughts that are coming through. So I think it's really powerful that you are, you know, giving yourself that credit that you do help people create through their journey, and having that spark, obviously if they would tell you more. Sometimes it's always nice to hear, you know, that this has helped them, or like through a review through your Etsy page, or through your TikTok or your Instagram. So what are some practices or mindsets that help you reconnect with your art when you're inspired from feeling away? Or what shifts for you when you feel like, I don't feel like I'm in that creative mode? How do you kind of get yourself back there?
I usually will just um try to do like, well, for one, I read and I'll get myself back into like a nice, like good point of view. Like if I'm feeling uninspired, then I want to get back to something familiar that's gonna bring me some more joy and less of like a blah.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I honestly I have collected so much stuff that I really will just kind of find something random that I've gotten. Like, for example, I went to a rummage sale because that's where I find a lot of stuff because thrifting is really big for me, especially when I'm trying to find all these nostalgic things. I find them at sales and garage sales and thrift stores and antique stores. But I found a huge crate of old sewing patterns from, decades past. And it was like $5 for tons of these things. And I'm like, I really love the art on these packages. Like, I'm sure I could do something cute with them sometime. And again, to my husband's dismay, like my room is like packed with things like this. And so if I'm feeling kind of down, shh, quiet pup. Sorry, my dog. Um, I went and pulled out this box of patterns. I was like, what can I make with these? And I just sat for a little while with them in mind and with all my other tape and ribbons and beads and all this other stuff. And I'm like, let me see, what can I put together out of this and make something cute? And I ended up making a stack of really cute bookmarks by cutting out the little illustrations and decoupaging them on and adding little sticker sayings and making them a little more modern in that way. And it just, like, by the end of this process, I'm like, I just had like a really nice 3 hours where I could just create and feel happy. And it wasn't anything that I had planned to do today, but I wanted to make something. Let me make something out of this and just sit here and see what comes out.
Yeah. And I love that too. I love that you can get to that place of, I'm feeling this way, so let me go create. It's kind of like what I noticed with my own self of like emotional eating. For instance, I will go create something. If I'm like of a color, I'll read. I'll like try to, because I know I'm not hungry. It's more of like that boredom of
Yeah,
like what I do now, and I feel like it's been really powerful for me because I'm just eating because I'm bored. I'm not eating because I'm hungry. Or there is sometimes I'm like, oh, I probably should eat today. I've been really busy, but it's because I'm doing things that I love. And I think is really, that is the key to, self-expression, to identity, to creativity, to like, when you said, collecting in memories, nostalgia, it's all connected. And I don't think that the modern overwhelm or like the resistance or all of that, all we have to remember is like, where can I find comfort, connection, that is what I'm seeing from what you're explaining this entire conversation, is that you have a very unique way to form a connection, form comfort. And then even when you feel, overwhelmed or you're resisting it, or, you just don't, you feel like you're just having a bad day, because we can have bad days. We're allowed to have bad days. It's
right.
just allowing us our bad day to not transpire into a bad week, a bad month, a bad year, that whole thing. It's like, and I think that you have your art is how you do that. And that's how you do it for other people. So it's like, again, that ripple effect. And I really think that you're building a legacy. So thank you.
Yeah,
uh,
I definitely love, like, I've collected, I do the little nostalgia kits too, which are also fun, and wherein I just kind of make a little grouping of some of the things that I've found, and it just kind of takes you back to, like you said, to some time when you were happy, or maybe it's something that you wished you had felt and you didn't really at the time, but now you can because you're an adult with adult choices and adult money, and you can do what you want now. Like, you can definitely buy a pair of Furby earrings now and be excited about them.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like getting excited. And I think a lot of us, I know for me, I've lived a lot through my daughter because of, just life, or, being able to, hey, do you want this? And she says no, but that's okay. Like, well, mommy's going to get it because mommy likes this. So I feel like, what you're doing, if it's just, people have experienced your work, or whether it's jewelry or art or your retro reading packs, what do you hope that, either listeners feel, or when you sell your stuff, if they can check out your Etsy too. Also, all her links, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to watch it. You'll also be able to check out her amazing cat that's been sitting with us. I don't with, or her dog. um, but make sure you also check out her TikTok and Instagram. But before we wrap up, what do you hope that the listeners feel, or remember about themselves through your work once they check it out?
I just hope that people feel like, I know as an adult, it's so easy to just get bogged down in the details of life, and sometimes things look kind of bleak and hopeless, and I feel like those of us, even with kids, you sometimes feel like I've got to pull myself out, not just for myself, but for them, because I want them to have, you the know the feel of being joyful and carefree. And that has to start with me. Like I have to have the right attitude. And like you said, we're not all perfect. We don't all have like great days all the time, but I think that it all starts with self-care and getting something for yourself just because it evoked like an emotional, oh my God, I remember that. I love that. That is what I like, live for when people come up to my table and they see something and I'm like, I know, I love that too. And that's why I made it. And that's why it's for you.
Right.
Mm.
That's definitely a beautiful reminder that creativity can be both connection and medicine. So thank you for that. And thank you for being here with us today on the Enlightened Misfits podcast. So, if Meg's story showed us the pieces of the art, so if every trinket that she talks about, every retro inspired pack that she talked about, every necklace that she makes, make sure, like I said, go check out her Etsy shop. The link is, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go below in the description box, or if you're listening to this podcast on any major platform, you also can check out the show notes to check out all of her links. They'll be below. And if this episode inspired you, please share this with fellow creators. Make sure that you tag her in the comments, and don't forget to check out all of her work, like I said. And as always, if you're ready to dive deeper into aligning your purpose, healing your patterns, and creating from the soul, you can join me inside the Enlightened Misfits Sisterhood. The link's below in the description box as well. Until next time, keep leading with love, creating with intention, and remembering that your art and your energy are somebody else's medicine.